Open the cover, it's just us.
This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Yeah, with the bells, with books. I wanna know what happens next. Why can't
Hey everybody, welcome back to Bells with Books. I'm Miranda, and this month we are going to be tackling superheroes, but Bell style. So, don't expect just capes and comic books. We have picked stories that we think will fit the superhero vibe, even if they don't quite follow the rules. Of course, we're going to start with book news and adaptation minute before jumping into our picks, but I can't do those things alone, and we will, of course, try not to forget to do recent reads and acquisitions. So, let's dive in, of course, with my lovely co-host, Bianca.
Hello! Brad has this little doohickey on his desk.
Yeah.
I'll show it to you on the camera, and it makes little bubbles, and the bubbles go down the ramp.
Oh, that is really cute, but I clicked back over from my opening that I just read to that, and I'm not, my brain didn't go there. I'm like, what? That was great.
Sorry, I didn't mean to freak you out there.
I think that says more about me. I was like, oh, no, it's the little, okay.
But yeah, we do have quite a bit of book news to cover and adaptations.
Yeah.
Of course, it has been over a month since we recorded, because we recorded March kind of early just because of life and reasons.
Life and.
So, we're going to get right to it, guys.
We are.
Book news. R.F. Kuang has officially revealed her new book, Taipei Story. It is going to come September 8th, and she revealed the cover too. It is very modern, I think would be a good descriptor for it. It's like modern art.
Interesting.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But this is going to center, let me show more, around a college freshman named Lily Chen, who is off to spend the summer in Taipei in an intensive language program like so many Chinese American students before her, hoping to connect with the culture she inherited but never fully understood. But a promising start quickly unravels. Her classes are grueling, her roommate is driving her insane, and a reckless trip to the hot springs with a guy she barely knows has her classmates viciously gossiping. She feels adrift, a foreigner to country she thought would feel like home. But then she gets some shocking news. Her grandfather passed away, and the loss forces her to grapple with now unanswerable questions about her family history. As she grieves, she's drawn into a journey of self-discovery, piecing together memories, stories, and silences over a series of hilarious and devastating attempts at connection.
That sounds good.
Yeah, this one is, so we all know R.F. Kuang writes, I would say she writes a lot of fantasy. She has written one other modern contemporary novel, so I think this one's going to be more contemporary as well.
Yeah, coming of age, modern contemporary. Look, check that link real quick. I just sent you. Look at this special edition of it, because you were talking about how, like, the cover, you're like, oh, it's this one, however. And this is from a...
I like that one better.
This is from Foils in the UK, so it would have to be like a special order for us. But is that not pretty?
I like that one better than the original.
Guys, it's like a traditional, if you look it up, it's from foyles.co.uk. And theirs is like a traditional tea setting, but it's got like other elements on the tea board. And then the sprayed edges are on the book. It's it's a building in Taipei. I can't think of the name of the building. And it's just really pretty. The other one is like, compared to this. But I guess that's why it's a special edition. But anyway.
There is currently a giveaway on Goodreads if you would like to see if you can win a copy. It goes through the 14th.
I highly recommend. I know we haven't talked about doing those in a while. I'll just throw this in there real quick. I recommend people signing up for those, because I have actually randomly won some where like a book has just shown up in the mail, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Same.
Yeah. So like never hurts. Like it's
And you get a little
other,
note saying, "Congratulations, you won the Goodreads giveaway." And I'm like, "Oh, I forgot I entered that 5 months ago."
And I know this one says 10 copies for over 11,000 people, but don't let that deter you, because I won one. It was like 5 copies, and there were like 27,000 people that are put in for this thing. Yeah. And randomly, my mom texted me one day when we were living in Europe, and she was like, "You just got a package?" And I was like, "I got a package? What?" And she's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, can you open it?" And it was a book. It was a John Green book, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, sweet." So,
next, for all the Gilmore girlies, Scott Patterson's Dishes from the Diner is going to come out September 8th. It is a cookbook featuring recipes from Scott Patterson. It's called Classic All Day Recipes. Of course, it's going to be very simple ones that you could find in a diner. This is being put out by...
Actually.
Do what?
There's a lot coming out September 8th, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think that's a big pub day this year.
Yeah.
But it's being put out by Hachette, however you want to pronounce it. And it's actually kind of thick for a cookbook. It's 224 pages. I was like, oh, that's a lot of recipes.
Yeah. Depending on, well, yeah, I guess we'll have to see it first, because it could be like the way they do the spreads. Yeah.
Well, it looks like, because they've got some previews on the Hachette website, it looks like one side is a picture of what it should be, and then the other page is like the actual recipe.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, I mean, that's still roughly 100 recipes.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
I mean, the one...
Oh, Lord.
One of the preview photos... If you watch Gilmore Girls, you'll get it. The French fries are labeled Wink Winkers.
Oh, that is fantastic. I love that so much.
That's cute.
I like that.
I'll let Miranda cover the next thing, because you're the one that found it.
I did. So I, Google sends you things and they're like, we think you might like this article. And they were indeed correct. This just came out the week before we are recording. So the article is from pewresearch.org, and this is actually titled, "Americans Still Opt for Print Books Over Digital or Audio Versions. Few Are in Book Clubs." And I was like, please tell me more. I won't go over the entire article, and we will make sure to include it in the show notes. But I really liked some of the statistics, mainly lower in the article, down in the article. It's like book reading habits in the U.S., and it varies them by education, age, and other factors. And it is interesting to me that they said percentage of adults, U.S. adults, say they have blank in the past 12 months is what they're going off of. And as U.S. adults, it's read a book in any format. That is 75% of U.S. adults, which, based on some articles that we've read to you guys before, that has significantly increased. And so that made me very happy. But women are at a higher chance than men. 78% of women, only 71% of men. I mean, close, but I found that interesting. What I really like is that the percentage of adults who say they have read a book in any format in the past 12 months, ages 18 to 29. And I know that does not include me or Bianca, but it makes me happy. And obviously they said adults in this, so there probably are varying numbers if you polled like kids and teens and such. But 78% of U.S. adults ages 18 to 29 have read a book, at least one book in the past 12 months. So I found that fascinating. Now I will say they even look at high school, were these people high school or less? Were they some college? Were they college plus? So that is pretty interesting as well. And then read an ebook, listened to an audiobook. So 26% of U.S. adults have listened to an audiobook in the last year, and 31% of them have read ebooks, which I found highly interesting because the majority of the time I spend on Book Talk, people are constantly talking about ebooks, audio, ebook, audio. I mean, yes, they're holding up physical books a lot of time in the video, but they'll say, oh, this is my physical copy, but I read it this way, or I listened to it this way. So I was kind of, I don't know, I didn't expect people reading print books to be that high. Did you?
I did, just because I can only speak for American culture. I feel like American work culture in general is very computer based. So I feel like if you want to read, you want to get away from a computer and a screen. Like, you want to literally escape. Yeah. So I think picking up a print book helps with that.
I would agree with that. And I will say, European culture has a lot of computer based jobs as well, just from being over there and like seeing them. I mean, I think you would have the same amount of like hands-on jobs that we do as well, but they also are pretty technologically, like, I mean, you think about it, even down to like the cashier, right? She's got to stare at that stupid beep beep screen all day.
Yeah.
It's still a screen. So yeah, I would say the same. And then it actually said, while most Americans have read at least one book in the past year, how many they have read varies. Now, this was as of October 2025. So this is where it gets to where you realize if you are a person that reads more than one book, you are kind of a unicorn. Because that was polling people like, have you read just one book in the past 12 months? Now, this is where it gets different. 38% of U.S. adults said they have read 1 to 5 books in the past year. 13% have read 6 to 10, 10% 11 to 20, and then 14% have read more than 20. So when you realize, Bianca, that we're part of 14% of Americans, it then feels, it's like, wait, what?
Well, and then the very next line is a quarter of Americans say they have not read any. I was like, hey, no.
Yeah, and that's adults. We're not even talking about teens and children. Like 25% of U.S. adults have read no books. Which
I would like to know their sample, like who they polled for this, because just reasons. Data is easily skewed, but
it is easily skewed. But I want to know, like, did you poll 100 people?
Well, like did you only poll 100 people in New York City? Did you only poll people in major cities? Did you poll people in the country?
Right,
like,
because that does matter.
I want to know how they got their numbers.
Yeah, it does. The only information I have, unless I have to read more of the tiny print, it says that the survey of U.S. adults was conducted between certain dates. They do tell us that information. And it says estimates for Asian adults are representative of English. So everyone they polled is English speaking only.
Okay.
So I will say that. So that probably does change things. That does change things as well. Because obviously we do have people in our country that English is not their main language or their strongest language. And that's, they're working on it. That's fine. Who cares? They can get through day-to-day life, whatever. But like, then that means that it is a little, like, they're not pulling everyone. Like you said, did they go to New York? Where did these people come from? I do know that the Pew Research Center is one that is usually puts a lot of work into it and well thought out. That's why I did want to share this article, because it's not like just random blah, 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 dot, whatever, This other last fact, and then we'll move on, is about book clubs. So it says book clubs are not a common activity for most Americans, which I found strange, because I feel like every time I turn around, somebody's like, hey, do you want to join this book club? Hey, do you want to join this book club? Do you want to be part of this book club? And I think it doesn't matter whether it meets in person or if it meets on social media or whatever. It's still a book club, right? I mean,
yeah.
Okay. So it says that according to the recent survey, only 7% of adults say they have participated in a book club in the last 12 months. Women are more likely than men to say they have done so, 10% versus 5%, which that statistic did make sense to me. A lot of the book clubs I've been part of, there's been no men in them, or only like one, maybe two. So they do have a note on here that I'll get into later, because if anyone else likes to know, but for you and I, Bianca, it says, here are the questions used for this analysis, the top line, and the survey methodology. So they do give you, like, it's like several pages to explain how they got where they got to.
Okay.
So, I mean, they are providing that, but I was with you. Like, I still found it fascinating either way. But I was like, okay, well, where exactly did you get this information? This did come out, like I said, April 9th of 26. Obviously, it is 2026, but I'm just saying that in case somebody listens to this in the future. And it looks like all of the survey was conducted in and around October. Yes, it says October 6th through the 16th of 2025. So it is all pretty fresh. So it's based on the 12 months prior to that. So 24 to 25 would be where it actually comes from. But I don't know. I just find statistics on who's reading, how much they're reading, and the comparisons of like which format they are choosing to read in is fascinated. And I just really love the fact that we're increasing, guys. 75% of people have. So I was like, yeah. My goal. Listen, I get some people don't enjoy reading. I don't understand how people don't enjoy reading, but I guess there's various reasons why people might not enjoy reading. Like maybe they're dyslexic or, having a hard time pulling information from source material. So I could see why. Or maybe you have a job where you read all day long and you're like, it's the opposite. You know how we're like, oh, we're on screens all the time. I don't want to be on a screen anymore. Maybe they're like, I have to read crap all day long. I don't want to do it for fun.
Yeah.
So, check that out. It'll be in the show notes and let us know what you think.
Next, we're going to get into Adaptation Minute.
What? We need a jingle.
I like the what. We're going to clip that and keep it for every episode now.
Andy, insert this here. What?
First one is that we have some news about Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, the novel by Gabrielle Zevin.
Such a good one if you haven't read it.
We did cover it.
I'll look it up while you go.
A while ago. But it's going to become a movie via Paramount.
Yes. Which I was really hoping that would be a series, only because there's some things that happen in that book where I think you could dedicate like an entire episode to like one section.
Well, that book is thick.
It is thick.
There's a lot to go over. But we have Cyan Hayder. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, is directing and writing the screenplay based on drafts by Mark Bomback and Gabrielle Zevin herself. This is from Variety.com if anyone wants to find the article that I'm referencing. It was published in 2022 and has sold over 4 million copies worldwide in 40 different languages. It was named one of the 100 best books of the 21st century by the New York Times and one of the best fiction books of the last 30 years by the LA Times. It will be produced by Temple Hill's Whit Godfrey, Marty Bowen, and Isaac Klausner. And then Gabrielle will serve as the executive producer.
Nice.
Go away, tab. Hey, I got one less tab on my screen, Miranda.
Listen, guys, she started this with like 19 tabs, and I was like,
I gotta stay organized, y'all.
I mean, I do, but I have like, they're on my phone, they're on my 2 different screens. Like, they're not all on one.
Next, we have an announcement from Abigail Owen, author of The Game's Gods play. It is going to be turned into a TV adaptation from Amazon.
Nice.
We all know Bianca has mixed feelings about this series by now because the plot is really good. The books are just not very well written. So I have hope that it will translate well to TV because I think if they have a very good screenwriter, it will go over well.
I agree. I do think there are a lot of books that people find not well written, but well enjoyable, I guess. And so it could adapt to TV very well.
Yeah.
I said well too many times there.
Which I will put a little disclaimer in here. It has been optioned by Amazon. It is not officially like a thing, but it gives me hope because normally I don't think I've heard of anything from Amazon that hasn't gone through. Normally that's a Netflix or Hulu problem.
Yeah.
Get out of there. I had the wonderful privilege of seeing Project Hail Mary on opening weekend. It was so freaking good, y'all. Ugh. I wish everyone could experience it the way I did in IMAX. That was the perfect IMAX movie.
Did you see? So the Artemis, guys, has just landed back on Earth. Did you see where they used the quote?
Well, the night before the launch, they got a special screening of Project Hail Mary too.
Yes, they did.
I was like, yes.
Oh, so yeah. But yeah, I saw that where they used the quote, and I was like,
But there are just a couple things about the Project Hail Mary movie that I want to discuss. It is... Oh, I scrolled way too far on this article I'm reading. This is from Screen Rant. Per Variety, Project Hail Mary is projected to hit a cumulative global box office total of roughly $500 million by the end of its fourth weekend in theaters, which it did. This total, it comprises both domestic and international markets. Blah, 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 blah. It is the third movie of 2026 to do this. I'm very proud of that. It deserves all the accolades. By hitting that milestone, it has cemented its place on the chart of the 50 highest grossing sci-fi movies of all time. It is currently sitting at number 49 and is still in theater, so I'm sure it will continue to go up from there. It knocked Star Wars Episode 6 off the top 50 chart.
wow.
I'm still scrolling because there's something else in this article that I wanted to talk about. Where is it? Oh, it has a verified hot 96% score on Rotten Tomatoes and a cinema score of A, which a lot of people reference those if they decide they want to see a movie or not. And it debuted at number 80 on the IMDb top 250s movie chart.
Huh.
It is the highest grossing Amazon MGM Studios movie ever. This, I didn't know Amazon was doing it when the Amazon logo popped up in theaters. I was like, oh, I didn't know this was an
you
Amazon
didn't?
movie.
I did know that part because I think when we first announced it was going to happen, we read all that.
But then what really warmed my heart was it's at a New York screening. Ryan Gosling made an appearance at one of the opening weekend movie theaters. He said, quote, 6 years ago, I got the manuscript. It was the most ambitious thing I'll ever make. It seemed impossible. It was too good not to give it a shot. 6 years later, we did it. Here we are. We're all back in theaters. It's not your job to keep them open. It's our job to make things that make it worth you coming out. I was like, Ryan Gosling, I love you.
I don't know. I think he's just very eloquent with how he explains things and just talks about things.
If you watch basically any interview from anyone in Hollywood, basically since COVID, they're all complaining about how no one goes to the movie theater anymore to watch movies. And a lot of audiences have been like, well, you're not putting out anything that we want to spend our hard-earned money on because movies are not cheap anymore. Yeah,
like, no offense. You and I recently talked about this privately, but I was like, listen, I love a good reboot, but can we stop?
Yeah.
And so people are, especially with the invention of, like, prime example, when Scream came out, it was like, I think only 2 weeks later. It wasn't that far removed that it was already available on streaming. So most people are like, I'll wait and buy it it is very expensive. They'll do, like, you can rent it for $19.95. But you can pile 6 people into your living room for that $19.95 versus one ticket. And I have found that more people are waiting to, like, oh, well, I'll just stream it in 2 weeks for $20. You know? So,
but it gives me hope that Ryan is acknowledging that it's not Hollywood's job to make people come to the movies. Like, you have to put out a good product in order for us to spend $15 to $20 at the movie theater.
Right.
We have to buy a ticket. We can't bring in outside food or drink, so we have to at least buy a water or something when we go in there.
Gone are
people
the
want some
days
popcorn
where you could sneak shit in because we used to.
Yeah.
No, we did. Listen, it was cheaper. It was so much cheaper to go to, like, Walmart.
I used to sneak in whole Chick-fil-A meals.
Girl, taco. We would get honestly, there was a time when you didn't actually have to sneak. You could kind of take whatever you wanted in. And we would go get the Taco Bell family pack.
I remember I was probably like 15. I had to have been at least 16, but I snuck in a whole Fiesta Lime chicken from Applebee's.
Listen, I've seen people bring in buckets of KFC under their shirt, like women pretending to be pregnant, and it's like a bucket of KFC. When you charging that much for crusty ass from the freezer pizza, do better, movie theaters. Listen, that could be a whole separate rant. We'll just...
One last thing about Project Hail Mary, and then I'll move on. Well, I'll move on in this episode and not in life because that movie was incredible. The score for this movie is absolutely phenomenal. It is by, what was his name? Daniel Pemberton. He's the composer for it. The one that, I'm glad I'm not the only one that was moved by this because this has been my entire For You page since I saw the movie. There's a song titled Time to Go Fishing, and it's when they try to get the amoebas off the planet, Miranda. Yeah. They try to get the amoeba stuff off that planet, and, they basically go fishing. And that's a very intense moment in the book, and it is very intense sitting there in the movie theater. Literally, no one was talking. You are locked in on the screen. Even if you've read the book and you know how this ends, you are locked in to make sure that they do what they have to do. And that song lasts 7 minutes and 10 seconds. Jeez. It is so good. Everyone go to Spotify and listen to Time to Go Fishing from the Project Hail Mary soundtrack. It is perfection. And that's all I have to say about that for now. You're welcome.
I have been over here this entire time trying to find what episode we talked about tomorrow specifically. And I'm really struggling, guys. It
would have been one of the June episodes because we did it for my birthday.
Did we?
Yes.
Okay, so here it is. I have because so it is from Belle's Books number 25. It is titled It's Bianca's Month. And yes, it says in the show notes that because of this, it had been on your TBR for 2 years, and then I read it, like I had just finished reading it and told you I had cried, so you chose that one as our book. So yes, if anyone wants to know, this was from episode 25. It's Bianca Month.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. There you go.
And then last adaptation news is that Warner Brothers Animation has started developing the House in the Cerulean Sea animated series.
I am so glad when you posted because you beat me to it and you were like, and I squealed because in my opinion, don't come for me. When I read the first book of the series, there is a specific scene. They're at the table. I won't go into any more detail because I think you'll know what I'm talking about. It's like very early on in the book and they're like having like dinner or there's something happening, right? And all I could see that entire scene was Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
I don't know what that is, but okay.
Okay, so I was an adult when Foster's Home came out. So it's Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. It was a 6-season cartoon on, I believe, Cartoon Network, maybe? But essentially, it is about this little boy named Max. He's 8 years old, and he's forced to give up his imaginary friend, Blue. And I'm reading this real quick. They discover Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, where you can go leave your imaginary friend. And there's this, like, kind lady that her name is Madam Foster. And if kids, like, if their imaginary friend needs to go live somewhere else because they can't live with them anymore, or imaginary friends get lost because maybe their person got too big and doesn't recognize them, they can go live with Madam Foster. And this house is filled with these different characters that kids have thought up. So some are like really tall and missing one arm, but it's done in like really cute. And the series focuses on building friendships and kind of the importance of friends. Final episode or first air date was August 3rd, 2004. And the final episode was in 2009. I found this when I was babysitting/nannying because I graduated in 2003. And then when I was on bed rest, when I was pregnant with Caden, I watched the crap out of this show. And it's fantastic. Highly recommend, even if you're an adult. But it looks like it's got a 7.5 out of 10 on IMDb. I'll just put it that way. But for those of you that know Foster's Home, and I think I even talked about this on our TikTok, and there were other people that were like, yes. So I'll send you a couple of clips just so you can see what I'm talking about, Bianca. But the minute you said it was animated, I was like, because it just makes so much sense to me, and you can do so much with animation.
I'm perfectly fine with it being animated just because I think if they would have gone the real route,
Yeah.
I think it would have been compared too much to Miss Peregrine, personally.
I completely agree with you. And we discussed that one as well very early on in our podcast. I think it's like episode 2 or 3, actually.
Yeah.
And we had feelings. We liked the book, but we had some feelings about the movie.
We always do.
That's why we're here.
I am perfectly happy with it being animated. I think that's a great decision.
So excited. On the opposite hand, people are really upset that Dungeon Crawler Carl will not be animated.
I'm fine.
I'm fine. I think it's going to be great live action, and I'm ready. I always say his name wrong. He's from Stranger Things. Montgomery is his last name.
Oh,
How do you
crap.
say it's like D-A-C-R-E.
Dacre?
Dacre?
I think it's Dacre Montgomery.
Okay. That is who I think should be Carl. I'm going to say it here. I'm saying it out loud, everybody. That is who Carl should be, Carl. Stop it with your Henry Cavills and your Alan Rickmans. It is not. It's not Jensen Ackles either. And listen, that means a lot. I'm surprised Bianca didn't gasp when I just said that is not Carl and that Jensen is not Carl, and everybody's like, because that's my husband and he's not Carl.
But Dacre, I was like, they're all older people.
Yeah, they're all too old.
I don't know too much about Dungeon Carl because I haven't read it, but I think you need a younger guy.
You need a younger guy. I don't want to say unknown, but you need younger. And then,
how old is he? He's 31.
31. Yeah. Yeah. So he fits because Carl's like 27 in book 1.
Okay.
And he's not supposed to be this big, massive, beefy guy when we get started.
Yeah.
So there's that. But so that was, sorry, just kind of adding that in there because you were talking about this one got turned into a cartoon, and I was like, Carl did not get turned into a cartoon. But I think I'm really looking forward to seeing where our voice cast goes for going back to Cerulean Sea real quick. Where the voice cast goes with that, because I think this gives it unlimited potential, essentially. You have more to work with. And I've always wanted to do voice work. Just throwing that out there. If anybody hears this, probably not. But what do they say? Shoot your shot.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott.
Exactly. Well, Michael Scott, this shit. I can do weird, funny voices. I will not do them here, but I can.
So in coming up with a theme for this April episode, we realized there's a big pop culture thing that we have not covered in the 3 years we've been doing this, Miranda.
Has it been 3? I feel like it's been more.
I think it's been about 3.
I don't know.
We're on episode 30-something, aren't we?
Yeah, sure.
So 12 times 3 is 36.
Hang on, our YouTube will tell me. I think we're in the 40s. I'm going to be honest. I think.
Oh, okay. If we're in 40s, then we're closer to 4. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah. We are.
And
we are currently recording number 40. This is 47.
Oh, we're almost 4 years then. Okay.
Yeah. Look at us go.
Look at time flying.
Right. I also feel like, did we do some sort of weird search where we were like, what are odd holidays in the month of April? We were also trying to not to do something we had already done.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I don't remember. I just remember being like, I know we haven't covered this on the podcast yet.
Yeah, we hadn't. So, as I mentioned at the top of the show, we are going to talk about superheroes, but we are not going to talk about them in the capacity and what traditionally one would think is my
We're not talking about like Marvel and DC.
No, which, don't get me wrong, I do read Marvel and DC books. They're fantastic. There are others than Marvel and DC if you want recommendations. I'm sure we both have some to give, but we wanted to look into a superhero, which I'll just go ahead and give you. Technically, the definition of a superhero is a fictional character often found in stories or movies who uses extraordinary abilities, specialized skills, or superior technology to fight evil and help people. They are sometimes characterized by strong moral compass, often, but not always, wearing costumes and operating outside of standards channels to bring hope and justice to society. So there's some gray area in there that can be worked with.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So you and I picked separate books this month.
Yes.
And we based them on personal criteria of what you would pick a superhero to be, essentially. Why does my face look so red on this stupid camera?
You're having a red face this time.
So
we don't record the video for the audience just because we're lazy. We don't want to do our hair and makeup
yet. Which actually both of us did our hair.
Yeah. But the past few times we have our video up just so we can, it's like a video call for us essentially. Yeah. But the past few months, there's a red sheen to my face and it's only on my face. We don't know why. We don't know why. And I look pretty normal today. Yeah, but you do have a pinkish hue to your face.
What's funny is I have two different screens, and on one screen I look like this sickly pale Victorian child that I am. And on the other one, it's like, what happened to Miranda's face? So, anyway, I'm not a superhero, so unfortunately I cannot control this complexion. But we picked separate books, and I want you to go first. Tell me the book you chose, why you associated it with a superhero, and then obviously we'll look up the book and all that stuff. Yeah.
So when I think superhero personally, I think someone with powers, like extraordinary powers, something that you're not, well, I guess you could be technically born with them, but it's something that a normal quote person would not have, whether it be like mind reading or super strength or you're super stretchy and strong, like something like that.
Right.
But I've had this book on my radar for a hot minute because, one, I love the author, but she has always pitched the book as X-Men fan fiction. And I was like, okay, I like X-Men. I can get down with that. So I picked Vicious by VE Schwab. And it really centers more around the concept of anti-heroes. Mm-hmm. Which I will give a quick definition of an anti-hero. It's a main character or protagonist who lacks traditional heroic qualities such as idealism, courage, or morality, yet is still cheered for by the audience. They often possess selfish, flawed, or cynical motivations using questionable or unethical methods to achieve their goals. Unlike villains, though, anti-heroes usually pursue good or justifiable ends, often serving as compelling, complex, and relatable alternatives to traditional heroes. And that is exactly what you get in Vicious by VE Schwab. This is anti-heroes who go after each other. When she said it was like X-Men fan fiction, it's like if you took Professor Xavier and, I forget his name now. What's his name, Miranda?
Magneto?
Magneto.
I was like, y'all can't see my face, but I'm like.
If you took them and put them in modern day university and let them go at each other, that's basically what Vicious is.
Which I can see happening.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
So the book centers around Victor and Eli, who start out as college roommates. They are both brilliant, arrogant, and lonely, but they recognize the same sharpness and ambition in each other. In their senior year, they share a research interest in adrenaline, near-death experiences, and seemingly supernatural events that reveal an intriguing possibility that under the right conditions, someone could develop extraordinary abilities, what they call EOs. But when their thesis moves from the academic to the experimental, things go horribly wrong.
You know, this works in a lot of ways. I can see the correlation between both X-Men already, because Magneto and Professor X they actually began as friends. They were allies. They met as young men. They shared a bond over their mutant abilities and their desire to like protect their kind. Obviously their friendship fractured due to, differences in their ideals. But I'm already seeing where it's very similar, in vein for sure.
Yes. And that's basically where the X-Men correlation ends, though. Like, she said this was fan fiction and she stuck to it. Like, she's not retelling the X-Men story. First and foremost, Victor and Eli, they are never really friends. They are not enemy. Competition would be a good word. They are each other's competition. They want attention specifically from this professor. They want to impress him or her. I don't remember if it was a man or a woman. Anyways, but they both have an interest in adrenaline and how it plays into EOs, because even though it's set, quote, in modern day world, it is an alternative world where people do possess abilities, but they are treated very much as other or as criminals. But they want to research it and how people get these abilities. And I'm not going to do a full step-by-step analysis that I typically do, because one, there's a lot that happens in this book. I would be here for 3 hours if I did all of that. But two, I really want people to read this and analyze it for themselves, because it's one of the books where you never know what a character is going to do next. I want to sit down with Miss Victoria Schwab, and I have many questions for her. Because for her to write this the way she did, ma'am, your brain works vastly different than mine. There's no way. You're muted, Miranda.
Yeah, my kid was being loud, but I was like, writing is hard.
But for instance, the very first scene, here's the first sentence. Victor readjusted the shovels on his shoulder and stepped gingerly over an old half-sunken grave.
Gingerly.
His trench billowed faintly, brushing the tops of tombstones as he made his way through Merritt Cemetery, humming as he went. The sound carried like wind through the dark. It made Sydney shiver in her too-big coat and her rainbow leggings and her winter boots as she trudged along behind him.
Was that rubber? Sorry, that was a mouthful.
Yeah. But the very first chapter is them digging up a dead body in a graveyard. I was like, this is the most VE Schwab thing that she's ever done in my entire life.
I mean, yeah.
But just a few other talking points. It's most of the book is told from Victor's point of view, although you do get other points of view throughout as you meet new characters. But Victor is very much an anti-hero, because once he gets abilities, that's not really a spoiler, like you're going to know that in the first chapter. But once he gets abilities, it's what he does with them versus what everyone else does with their abilities. And it's very much a question of morals. And going back to let me pull up that anti-hero definition again. Definition, go. So it's a person who lacks conventional heroic attributes such as morality, but they drive the narrative and hold the audience interests, and they act in their own self-interest and operate in a moral gray area. And that is definitely what Victor does. Because both he and Eli do develop extraordinary abilities, but it is how they use them and why they use them.
Which kind of still goes into pertaining to X-Men, because that's what split, Magneto and X, was how they decided to handle things. So it kind of still continues, it seems, to go.
Yeah, that is true.
Fan fiction. But I will say, I kind of appreciate that it's not a retelling.
No.
that it is like a fanfic. I'm all for fanfic. I know that a lot of people have strong opinions, and we have talked about people that are fanfic writers that have made it big, which she was a big writer that then wrote something that would be considered fanfic. So she's kind of the opposite. But we've many times in our 40-something episodes talked about, I mean, the big one, especially in our community, is like the Twilight fanfic.
Yeah.
Like it's based off Twilight. It happens. But I think it's also when you have an idea for something you love and turning it into like an additional story. When you're sitting there watching X-Men and you're like, oh, well, what if they did this? What if they did this? Like, I think it's really cool.
Yeah. The story was told very well. Immediately after I finished this book, I ordered the second one. The third one actually comes out in October of this year, so I don't have to wait too long to finish the trilogy.
Nice.
But the story does explore what happens when ordinary people gain their extraordinary abilities and how their powers come from near-death experiences, which links their trauma with transformation. And you also talk about the psychology of the character. It's kind of like in Twilight, where a person's personality is amplified with their ability.
So I like that. I love that.
So like with Alice, maybe she always had she always had deja vu or something like that.
Right.
So her vampire ability was seeing the future. Or with Jasper, he was always sensitive to people around him. He was very empathetic. So his vampire ability was influencing people's emotions. It's kind of the same in this universe, where your personality / what you're doing with your near-death experience and how you're feeling in that moment feeds into your ability.
Gotcha. Makes complete sense there.
Yeah. But this is also, you get found family here, if that's your thing. Victor likes to collect people, whether for good or bad. You also have stories of revenge, but also justice once you get to Eli's point of view, because how he uses his powers uses to justify everything that he does, whether you agree with it or not. I have opinions. If you ever read this book, Miranda, you will get a rant from me.
Okay. It's been on my list. I just haven't made it to it.
But yeah, that is Vicious by VE Schwab. I gave it 5 out of 5. I absolutely loved it. But I love VE Schwab's writing. She is very, I'll say she's very poetic. She definitely knows how to paint a scene, which normally, y'all know I'm not into. Normally I skip over it. But she writes in such a compelling way that I'm like, I have to devour every single word you say.
Right. I get it. It's like for people that are like, oh, this was not well written or whatever. And they're like, but I loved it. That kind of thing. Like sometimes there are just authors that you vibe with that some people may not understand why. I don't think she's one that people don't understand why. I don't know. There may be hate towards her. I'm not sure. I'm in kind of like I see the drama in the book world, but a lot of times it doesn't like envelop me because I'm like, I don't like it. I just tell people to mind their business. Like when I yelled at everyone and was like, buckle up. Occasionally I do go off on a tangent and buckle up, but overall I don't think that she's one that I've ever come across anything odd about.
No, not to my knowledge.
Yeah.
Well, that's Vicious by VE Schwab. Miranda, what did you decide to cover this month?
So for my solo read this month, I picked up Ahsoka, which, transparency, it was a reread, but I loved it. So this is Ahsoka by EK Johnston. And in my opinion, if you're even just a little bit into Star Wars or you like Ahsoka Tano, this is a very meaningful in-between story for her. And obviously because our month's theme was superheroes, I thought this would be an interesting fit because the book actually reads, in my opinion, a lot like a superhero origin story. Obviously, we have already said this is not traditional sense with like costumes, flashy big moments, but in like a more grounded way because and I'm not going to spoil it. I am going to like break it down a little bit, but she's in hiding. She's keeping her abilities quiet. She's trying not to draw attention to herself. So it's very much like a hero kind of laying low after everything has gone wrong a lot of times. what makes it fit the theme, in my opinion, is it's not so much about gaining powers as it's about choosing how to use them and when to use them. There are moments where she could stay hidden and safe, but has to step in and help someone. And that's what a superhero would do, is be like, I didn't want to do this, but like, it's my duty. And to me, that makes it feel extremely superhero coded. And don't come for me, because this is a hill I will die on. It's an internal decision that she has to do the right thing, even when no one is asking you to, basically. Because that's also a thing in superhero world, is like doing the right thing, not just when it's expected of you and when everyone is watching, but when no one is watching. And honestly, there's a lot of situations that she gets put in that no one would blame her for walking away either. And that, to me, is kind of what ends up feeling less like a Jedi story, which you're like, oh, it is a Jedi story. But it makes it feel less like a Jedi story and more like someone quietly becoming the kind of hero that the world needs on their own terms. So this book does take place after Star Wars: The Clone Wars, but before we see her again in Star Wars Rebels. Both animated series, both highly recommend, especially if you are a Star Wars fan. They're very good. They tie up some things, explain some things, and they are canon. They do fit into the world. So it really fits like an emotional gap as well of who she becomes after kind of walking away from everything she's ever known. What I loved, though, is that it isn't a big galaxy-spanning, action-heavy Star Wars story, which I know sounds contradictory, but I kind of love that this is not. This is very quiet and personal. As I mentioned, she is in hiding. She's trying to figure out who she is without the Jedi Order telling her who she is.
Do you need... Because I'm not a huge Star Wars person. Like, I've seen the movies, but that's about the extent of it. Do you need any backstory to read this one?
I wouldn't feel like you would need backstory to read this one. I feel like the way that it jumps in and tells you who she is and kind of like what she's come from, that you could just like pick it up and read it. I have heard, I think it is technically, is it a YA or a middle?
Yes, it is YA.
It's YA. So like I have heard of people like not knowing who she was before and then picking it up and being like, oh, I love her, which I am a Star Wars person and she is my favorite Star Wars character. Actually, the girl that plays her, that are like originally helped even create her for Clone Wars and Rebels, will be here in town at the event that I'm volunteering at next week.
Ooh.
Yeah. She's actually the girl that created the Her universe.
Oh, yeah.
Ashley Eckstein. Yeah. And she does the audio for the book, if you read the Ahsoka book via audio. So she is the narrator for that as well. I definitely think this is one that somebody could pick up, maybe only being vaguely familiar or just wanting to like dip their toe in. I think it's a good introduction to like kind of how things go, especially if you do like superheroes and maybe you weren't a Star Wars person. You wanted to kind of like, blend over a little. Because
when did you say it takes place?
So it goes between Clone Wars, Star Wars Clone Wars.
Was that the animated series?
Yeah, they're both animated.
Okay.
So her first appearance is in the animated series.
Okay.
And so it takes place in between those two animated series, the Clone Wars and then the Rebels.
That would be why I don't know her, because I haven't watched that.
Well, you have seen Mandalorian, correct?
It's been a hot minute.
She shows up. She's played by...
to be honest, the only thing I remember is Grogu.
Oh, my Lord.
Little baby Yoda.
He is fantastic. She is played by Rosario Dawson in The Mandalorian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That dredges up a memory.
Like,
yeah. She
it's
got
natural.
the blue thing.
Yeah. It's part of like her race, like what she is.
Okay.
Yeah, she was a Jedi Padawan of Anakin.
Okay.
Yeah, she was trained by Anakin.
Mm.
Yeah. And she spent time fighting against the she has a whole fantastic backstory. I just love her. And then of course they have the Ahsoka TV show as well.
Okay. I like that we both read books by authors who go by their initials.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Let's see. What else could I say? So again,
what's the main theme?
So to me, it has a couple of different ones that you could talk about. Definitely hope and resistance, which is a must in any Star Wars story, right?
Yeah.
But there is healing after trauma because she deals with something pretty heavy. Even for it to be a cartoon, there's like a lot of heavy stuff. So she's learning to trust again. Like I said, choice versus duty. Like, do you choose to do this or are you being forced? Is there a code requiring you to do this? But also identity and reinvention, because she's figuring out who she is without a title, but she's letting go of who she thought she was supposed to be and choosing who she wants to become. So it's a lot about, it's kind of a coming of age story, I guess, as well. I don't remember how old she would be.
That's what I was going to ask. Since it's classified as YA, is she supposed to be like a teenager, or is it just like a not super intense graphic book in general?
It's not a super intense graphic, but I'm trying to see how old she is in the book. So what is a baby Y? Oh, okay. So it tells you, it's like, oh, 0, she's this to this, but I don't know what that means. Just give me a breakdown. You guys
give it to me in Earth terms,
right? The book is set in 18 BBY. Okay, that's great. She's 18 years old. She is 18. Okay, so that's why it's a YA, because here she would be 18. Yeah, so she's like freshly 18, maybe 19, but she has trauma that she's dealing through, trying to figure out who she is. She's got this moral clarity in a very complicated world is what she's working through, basically. And there's just like a lot going on. I will say, if you really love her character, the book respects it. It doesn't try to reinvent her, basically. It just kind of deepens her, in my opinion. You get more insight into her mindset, her values, how she steps into like a version of herself that we later see. There are some connections to the larger Star Wars universe that longtime fans would pick up on here. But as you ask me, like, do you need to know everything? No, you don't need to know everything going in. It just works on a character focused story first, in my opinion. I would definitely say that.
Okay.
If I had one small critique, it's that if you're expecting something super fast paced or plot heavy, it might feel a little bit slower. And I think that does lead to the fact, and I don't want to say that YA books aren't fast paced or aren't plot heavy, because they can be, but I mean, it is again written for, YA.
Yeah.
But it does work. And to me, it worked because it gave the story kind of like that emotional weight. You're supposed to be sitting with the emotion of what she's dealing with and how she's trying to figure out.
Okay.
Overall, really solid, especially, like I said, if you love character-driven stories, if you want more depth into Ahsoka's journey, it's not about big twists here, okay? Or big shocking moments. It's growth, resilience, and figuring out who you are when basically everything you believed in has completely kablooied.
Okay.
Yeah. So I definitely think it's worth picking up. I love it. This is like I said, this was a reread for me, and it felt great.
What did you rate it the first time, and what do you rate it now?
I gave it 5 on 5.
Okay.
And I don't know if that is because this is a character that I like have such a strong connection to. We all have characters, in our different fandoms that we are just like, that is our character.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because of that. But overall, like, I feel like it just withstands. And like I said, because it is kind of bridging a gap that you normally wouldn't get to see. So you get to see this part end, and then all of a sudden she appears here, and you're like, well, how did we get from A to Z kind of thing? And it fills that A to Z gap, basically.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool.
Yes.
Well, that is our take on superheroes, y'all.
Yes.
I thoroughly enjoyed this topic. We're going to have to revisit it.
I think so too. Because it's very, I don't want to say vague, but broad. It's very broad, especially when you look at the definition that you read about anti-heroes, what I came up with about just superheroes in general. Like, I think there's so many more books that could fall into this topic.
Oh, definitely.
Did you have another one when you were reading and going through this that made you go, I think that is also a book that would fit?
I mean, I'm going to say Red Queen.
Yes.
That's my baby right there. But I was like, I've already talked about that book once.
It doesn't matter. No, I was just thinking in general.
But I also thought about Miss Peregrine. Also thought about House on the Cerulean Sea.
Yeah. I was thinking Cinder.
Oh, yeah.
Which, I mean, those are technically retellings, but, like, they are retellings of like, classic stories, not fairy tales, excuse me.
Yeah, they're fairy tales.
Yeah, they're fairy tales. But
they're told in a not fairy tale way.
No. But I immediately, like, when I finished Ahsoka and I was like, oh, well, what else fits in here? I immediately thought about the
And then you can also make an argument for Harry Potter.
Yeah, if you go by the definition of superhero, yeah.
Yeah. But those were the immediate ones that came to mind.
Let's see. But we will not forget this time, which I think we only forgot. We kind of started forgetting it like one time. What's really funny is I Googled really quick what books would be superhero stories but are not.
Uh-huh.
And the very first one is Vicious by VE Schwab. The others are Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson, The Gilded Wolves by Roshani, I butcher her last name, Shokshi?
I don't know what that is.
You've probably seen the cover, but and then there's Hinge by Natalie Zeno Walcott and Worm by Wildbow, which I have never heard about that.
Worm? Like WORM?
Yes, it says it's a web serial. So it is a book, but it's a web serial about a teenage girl with bug control powers who tries to be a hero, but is often mistaken for a villain. It's a deconstruction of the superhero genre. Interesting. Yeah. Anyway, so there are a lot. Other people have clearly thought about this as well. So, and then there's even on Goodreads, it's like YA superhero novels that are not comics or graphic novels. That's a whole section. So, if you want to find your next superhero, which again, there's Vicious by VE Schwab. So you picked a good one. So lots of options out there. There are even books about some of your already favorites. I'll just throw that out there. I have come across a lot of people that didn't realize that, but there are already like actual novels that are about a lot of the people that you already love. One of my favorites of all time is Mary Jane by Judith O'Brien. So
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. They're actually novelizations of not necessarily the comic of a comic, but there are actual books out there of different. Oh my goodness, like different superheroes. And it's usually like fill the gap stories.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So there's that.
I am trying to pull up my recent reads. There we go.
It's like,
I'm not forgetting this time.
And acquisitions, recent reads, and yeah.
I like whatever you got going on there.
Like recent reads.
That's called chair dancing. I love it.
Yeah, listen, I am from a generation of chair dancing because we do it in the car while you're driving, like all the way to the place where you do the dancing. You're like, that's why all of us throw our hands up, because you had to have one hand on the steering wheel so you could do this. Listen, if you're between a certain age range, your song had something about putting your hands in the air.
Yeah, that is true.
Just don't care. And it started in like the early 90s. We've been waving our hands around.
That reminds me.
Oh, God.
I wanted to start a new thing, not really a segment, but just something to go along with what we do. So if you had to choose a song that matches your book, that's a thing I want to start. Okay. So mine for Vicious by VE Schwab. Oh crap. What was it? I sent it to my friend Sam the other night because she's also a huge fan of this book. Oh yeah. Start a Riot by Duckworthy and
that's a good one.
It's from the Spider-Man soundtrack.
I love that one. Okay.
That song perfectly encapsulates Vicious. And I know that my people are going to come for me and be like, Bianca, you didn't pick a Taylor Swift song?
No, I was actually like, is it going to be a Taylor song?
But no, because I just couldn't. So, Start a Riot. If you had to choose one, Miranda, what would you choose?
Control by Halsey.
Okay.
Because it fits the theme of her early, sometimes violent, and even highly ambitious. Like, she's very highly ambitious when she first, like, gets going. And she was even deemed like, no, you're being too hard, too much. Which kind of, I don't remember that necessarily in the book, but like her character overall.
Yeah.
I would go with Control by Halsey.
Okay.
We will start a playlist because I love a good playlist.
Yeah.
So it'll be new. We're not going to backtrack on that one. We didn't do much backtrack and work on this one.
This is starting April 2026.
Yes, right. April 2026. We will give you, if we read a different book, or even if we read a book together, maybe we pick a different song.
Yeah.
All right.
Because we can interpret it differently.
We absolutely. So yeah, mine would be Control by Halsey.
Okay.
Can you text me yours so I don't forget?
Yes.
I will start I'll start on Spotify. That's the best place to do it. And I'll add you as a contributor, and then we will share the link in the show notes if you guys want to follow along. So right now you only have 2 songs, but I mean we're gonna keep it going.
But going to our last segment, recent reads and acquisitions.
Yes.
I honestly forget where I left off last episode because it's been a hot minute. So if I repeat any of these, my apologies. I know I talked about that. I continued my Cassandra Clare universe.
I'm so proud of you.
Expansion. I read City of Bones, which was technically the first one that came out.
And I have read that one, but I'm starting in the Sabrina. For those of you that are like maybe new here, we have both Bianca and I are revisiting, restarting, redoing, or actually doing the entire Cassandra Clare universe. And we are doing it in the order that we call the Sabrina plan. Because one of our really close friends, mutual friends, her name's Sabrina, and these are her favorite series. And she took the time with highlighters and everything, boys and girls, and made Bianca and I charts we are to follow in what reading order we are to read these.
Yes.
So don't come for us because Sabrina has told us what to do, and we are listening.
So I did City of Bones. It was technically the first one that Cassandra Clare put out, although it's kind of like Star Wars where it starts in the middle and Cassandra Clare went back and wrote other stories. I actually didn't like it as much as I like the other ones. I like the Victorian era ones better personally.
Well, I mean, that makes sense based on mine and yours, personal preference.
Yeah. I mean, it was still good. I'm still continuing the series, but
this is the one that has the weird, is it incest?
Dude, I texted Sabrina with a screenshot and I said, brother?
No.
Brother? She was like, Bianca, it's not what you think. I said, this says brother.
It isn't what you think, though. Listen, it's been out long enough we can say that. That's not spoiling it. It's been out long enough.
I still don't know anything. I've just stayed away from spoilers. I have a hair that is dangling right
now. No, I'm saying as far as us spoiling it for other people.
Yeah.
It's been out long enough that us saying.
Yeah, no.
You were either going to read it or you weren't.
And she's like, Bianca, please just continue the series. Please just continue. I promise it's not what you think. And I'm just like, this says brother. I don't know what to tell you. So that's my take on City of Bones. I read His and Hers by Alice Feeney.
Oh, I want to read that one.
It was so good. I started the series on Netflix because that's what got me into it. I was like, ooh, I want to do it at the same time. I was like, maybe if I read it and watch it at the same time and keep it going.
In tandem?
Yeah. The book is still 50 bazillion times better. For some reason, someone at Netflix was like, this book needs sex. And like half the series is them just having graphic sex. Not in the book.
And that's frustrating to me. And I know people are going to be like, wait, what, Miranda? You just thought that thing at the beginning of the show was something different. That's not my point. My point is, I don't like when it's put in for just the sake of putting it in. Like,
it's there for like shock value, I guess. But I'm just like, that. I don't want to watch this. This is not what I read.
No, that is not what I signed up for. I listen. I know that I love Outlander, but like it's usually pivotal to the plot. Well, sometimes it's not. It's just there because they're they're trying to show the connection or lack of or whatever between two people usually. But come on now. Like, why are we putting it in just to put it in? Yes, we're adults, but that doesn't mean we all want to see the wham bam, thank you ma'am.
And there's a time and place for it. And that was just added in willy-nilly. I was disappointed. I didn't even finish the TV show. That's how disappointed I was with it.
Well, Jerry wanted to watch it because he said a bunch of people at work were talking about how good it was. And they had read the book before.
The essential plot is still there, but there's just a lot of added stuff. I'm just letting you know. The book, though, I normally, like you and I both, we can normally pinpoint who, what, where, and why. Right. Like, we're good at that.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I thought I did. And then the last chapter, I was like, I had the literal O face.
Okay, so I will probably have to read that one pretty soon so that I can text you about it because I usually do. I've had I don't know. I kind of like when I can't figure it out, but I also like when I can because then I'm like,
that one just absolutely threw me. Another 5-star read that I did was Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. Stephanie Garber is the author of the Caraval and the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. This is her first adult novel. It is still fantasy, but it's her first adult. Absolutely loved it. I need book 2 stat. I thought it was a standalone. It is not. And it was so good. It was so good. I did read some other ones, but the only other one I'm going to talk about is Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. This is my first Gillian McAllister book, and I hope it's not my last. I was pleasantly surprised. It is a Reese book club pick from many years ago. It's an older book. But it is a whodunit, but told in reverse.
Ooh.
It was a very interesting concept. It's basically Groundhog Day, but with murder. And instead of reliving the same day over and over, she keeps going back in time.
Oh.
Like, it keeps resetting, and she keeps going further and further back in her life.
I love time travel.
It was really well told. I enjoyed it. I think I gave it 4 stars just because sometimes the pacing was a little off, and there was stuff that I just didn't care about personally. But loved it. I want to read more. Please give me more Gillian McAllister. Gillian, I don't know how you pronounce your name.
I think it's Gillian.
Those were my recent reads that I wanted to talk about. Some acquisitions. You'll love this, Miranda. Ooh. I got The Faraway Inn by Sarah Beth Durst.
So pretty. I almost got the same one.
Gorgeous. I'm going to have to read this pretty soon because I've also, like I told you earlier, we didn't say this on the podcast, it's just chit chatting. I told you earlier I've been in the mood for horror, but I also want a cozy. I need cozy horror in my life. This is not cozy horror. This is just cozy.
If you want cozy horror, I can recommend you some cozy horror. It sounds like a genre that shouldn't exist, but it does.
And then I was going to peel that sticker off, but it's not coming off. I found this in a used book bin at like one of those discount stores for like $8. A Tempest of Tea.
I've heard good things about that book.
So I was like, for $8 and it's a hardcover, I'm not going to pass that up. And then finally, I did get the follow-up to Vicious is Full.
Nice.
Schwab. I do like the progression of the covers. So this is Vicious. This is presumably, well, I guess you could say it's Victor or Eli.
Yeah.
How you want to interpret it, but standing on a triangle of various skulls and bones and things.
I thought it was like a path that was getting narrower, like because of visual. Is it not a path?
I can see that, but I don't think it's supposed to be after reading the story.
Well, no, because you have read it. That's why I've seen that cover a bunch, and I always thought it was just like a path with a person at the end, because visually it would get like.
I can see that, but this is the cover of Vengeful. It's like reversed.
Ooh.
See, and this is a girl. I don't want to spoil who it, because I think I know who this is, but I don't want to spoil it because she plays a big part in the twist of Vicious.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the cover of Vengeful, the second in the series. And those are my recent reads and acquisitions.
Did you go to the penny a page sale?
I did not.
I took Mom to her first penny a page sale.
How many books did she end up getting?
Well, I mean, they only let you buy 5.
Oh, I didn't know there was a limit.
Yeah, there's a limit for penny a page.
Okay.
Now, there's not a limit. Like, you can buy whatever else that day. So I think she ended up buying like 15, 20 books.
Oh,
but
okay.
she spent like under $50.
Dang.
She's trying to replenish her Agatha Christie. And so we found a bunch for like $2 and $3.
Okay.
So she went to her first penny a page when she came down. A lot of mine were stuff that I bought for Caden, or I can't remember.
Well, hey, that reminds me then.
Yes.
This is for your mom specifically, because I didn't know she was into Agatha Christie like that.
Oh, it's her favorite. Probably, yeah.
In one of my other recent reads, I also read With a Vengeance by Riley Sager. It is very Agatha Christie coded.
Okay. She and I both love Agatha.
Yeah. It gave me a lot of Murder on the Oriental Express vibes.
Okay. I would definitely have to.
I would recommend that one.
I also had a few that I put. I actually had her get one of the Janice Hallett books. I showed her how it was broken down, and I was like, listen, if you're somebody that you're like, oh, I need to stop and take a break, I was like, it's great for that. And I've never seen them in America either, so I was very excited. So I was like, listen, it's like you already know the what happened, but you're like figuring out. I was like, in this specific book from her, you already know what happened, but you're trying to piece together like why, and like, was it real? Was it not real? What parts were? What parts were not? That kind of thing. So she got that one. I don't remember what I bought because it sounds really bad. You can only do 5 at the penny a page thing. So I got a cookbook for Jerry. It's going to be part of his Father's Day gift from one of the barbecue guys he follows. And I got a kind of funny Necronomicon version book for Caden.
Yeah.
Add to his collection. Most of my acquisitions lately have been in the form of ARC. I've gotten several ARCs.
Yeah.
That have also been my recent reads because, unfortunately for a mood reader, listen, I don't want this to come out the wrong way because then nobody's going to send me an ARC again. So I need to explain myself. I love receiving ARCs, and I feel very privileged that's the wrong word. Help me figure out my word. I'll tell you what I get really excited, especially when it's somebody I know that reaches out and says, hey, I wrote this book, or hey, I saw your TikTok and I wrote a book. Would you read my ARC? Would you beta read or whatever? That means a lot to me because wow, you watched me on social media or you know me personally and you're like, hey, would you read my book? That makes my day. I think that's such a huge compliment that you think I know enough about books that you want me to read and critique your book, right?
Yeah.
But also, I am a hardcore mood reader. I've talked about this anytime I've created summer TBRs or whatever. The joke is always on any of my posts, will Miranda actually read all these? I just, for whatever reason.
I'm almost just as bad, so I can't be saying anything.
Right. When we pick a book, I can set my mind to it and I'm like, okay, I have a deadline. Somebody is relying on me. And I know those people are too. And I do meet my deadlines, but don't ask me what my NetGalley score is. Okay. The problem is a lot of time I finish those and then I forget to post in the correct places that you're supposed to post.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Anyway. And then you get your score all the way back up and then you forget one book and it drops and you're like, what am I? Listen, that score is bull cocky and we need to find a new thing. Anyway. A lot of my most recent acquisitions have been ARCs. And I am proud of myself because I don't want to say struggling through them because then that makes it sound like I didn't like them. But it's I also went to the library.
Sorry, I just figured out that is this microphone making that noise. I sincerely apologize.
Well, we haven't heard it since before we started recording. But then I heard it and I was like.
They're coming for you, Miranda.
Telling you. But I also have this thing where I like go to the library and then I walk out of there and I'm like, why did I walk out of here with so many books? Like, at least I'm not buying them, right?
That is true. You are supporting.
I'll also,
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, my audio went out for like a split second. You are supporting public libraries, and I applaud that.
Again, could be drugs. I don't do drugs, boys and girls. I barely drink. So, I mean, when somebody comes at me about my books, I'm like, I don't drink really, occasionally, and I don't do drugs, and I drink a lot of coffee, but it could be worse. Could be worse.
I was like, if you overdose on anything, it'll be caffeine.
For sure. The amount of caffeine that goes into this body daily. I mean, Exhibit A.
Not the Starbies.
Listen, it's what we had to go to Target, and that's what's in Target. It's not what I prefer. I don't really love them, but it was
valid.
It was there.
Yeah.
It was there. I prefer 7 brew, but or I make it at home. But anyway,
yeah.
So a lot of mine are about to be arcs. I will notate whether you can purchase them now. Are they available, or they are for pre-order only?
Okay,
so
my fingers are ready.
All right. So this one is available. You can order it. I will say it was so I'm combining reads and acquisitions here.
Okay.
All right. So I acquiesced to this arc from the Nerd family. Highly recommend them if you are an arc reader and you're looking to get more arcs. Or like get on a mailing list. A lot of their stuff is considered romance or romancy or things along those lines. I gave this book 4 stars. It's called This Damsel Is Not in Distress. And then it is a cozy fantasy romance. That's part of the title, like cozy fantasy romance. It's by T. Harlowe, T-E-E.
Okay.
Harlowe. This book gave me, do you remember The Kitchen Witch? Oh my goodness. Now that series. It was the books that I told you about, The House Witch.
Oh, yeah.
The Telemock, which now she's actually come out and given the world her real name, and I apologize. I can't remember. I think it's like Emily something. Anyway, the vibes I got off the jump from this book, The Damsel Is Not in Distress, that took me right back to the when I found that first book of The House Witch.
Yeah.
Instantly there.
Okay.
Which drew me in even further. I know our friend Hope has read this. So this book is out and available for purchase now. I have procrastinated and I have not posted a TikTok about it yet, but that's okay. So if you want to review, go check out our social medias here in the next few days. I need to get that up. But so that's a recent read, 4 stars. And it was also an acquisition. The next one, it is available for pre-order. By the time this goes up, it may be past pre-order date because honestly, I'm not looking at my calendar to know right now what day I'm going to have this officially up. But it is a male romance. I'm going to pull this up. And full transparency, I have talked about this one several times already on our TikTok. And that is because I was given this book to almost beta read. Not exactly. It's like, I don't know. I read it before. I read it and was supposed to tell him if there was anything like wrong. Like, hey, should I change this? What should I do here?
Yeah.
And I am helping him like actively make videos for his TikTok because Randy is one of my nearest and dearest friends. And I'm so proud of him. He wrote a book that he had really been wanting to write. He did write it in the realm of romance. It is male. And it deals with both of our main characters are in the military.
What's the title? You never said the title.
Oh, sorry. It's called The Alpha's Panther. And it's going to be book 1 of a series of the Warborn Pack series. And he does deal heavily with the don't ask, don't tell policy in this first book. I did recommend he write a letter from the author at the beginning explaining why this meant so much to him and why it is so important that, even though this is a shifter romance, like that it can involve real world things. And it can be deeper than just like, hey, it's just a silly shifter romance. So if you like a shifter male romance, highly recommend. If you want something that is also deeper than that has like a deeper meaning, also highly recommend. It releases April 15th. Randy has a pre-order goal. And like I said, I don't know if this will come out before pre-orders or after, but it really doesn't matter. It is on Kindle. Normally I don't like hype up a book like this, but I think this is like different. I think if either one of us had a friend that wrote a book, we would do this. You can get it on Kindle for $3.99. But if you are a KU person, it will be available with your Kindle subscription on launch day. I'm just very proud of him. And I know that this is like putting yourself out there, in any frame. Writing a book is very hard, but then writing about things that and that are very close and personal to you, even if you're putting them in the format of a fictional story, is it's scary. I'm trying not to cry here because I don't know. So Randy and his husband Melvin were our neighbors, and that's how we became really good friends with them. And then when my husband first took the job in Saudi, and we were kind of like, not that we were alone, because like we had you and Brad and like so many other people that if I'd called and said like, I need help, you would have been there like immediately. But they were right next door, and I spent many a night like sitting with them, like just having a glass of wine or talking about politics or just like silly things. And they're just a couple of people that mean like a whole lot to us. And so him putting himself out there like this is just, I want the whole world to read his book, basically. Like, even if it's not really your thing, like maybe gift it to someone that it is what I'm asking. So Randy, just to tell you a little bit about him, he is a retired Army manager. He has 27 years of experience in the military. He now lives in Louisville, Kentucky, and he loves to read as well. And he obviously loves to write. He's a writer. This is his first book. This is his debut novel. He has 2 dogs that they adore. Dora was friends with our dogs. She's like the sweetest thing ever. We have not been able to meet Nemo, their other dog. They got him after. They are both gym guys. Like, they love going to the gym together. They spend a lot of time together. And Melvin is just like the sweetest thing ever. He also used to substitute teach at Caden school. And they're just like a really sweet couple. And to see, I don't know, I would cry if Bianca wrote a book and I was trying to describe it too. Because listen, I love my friends, and I think you should pump your friends up when you care about them. And so I did. I read his book. I was deeply touched that he was like, hey, would you read my book for me? So I am going to do a full review as well, but it is a paranormal shifter. And really quick, where's the description he gave me? So you have First Lieutenant Mac Carter has spent years learning control. He's a wolf among humans, and he joined the army to keep the predator inside him disciplined and far from the pack he left behind. War has taught him how to command soldiers, survive loss, and carry responsibility no one else can see. And then a new lieutenant arrives. Melvin Hayes moves through the desert war zone with a quiet precision, watching more than he speaks. Beneath the calm discipline of an officer lies a secret dangerous as Mac's own. He's a panther. In the world where supernatural predators hide behind human uniforms and ancient rules forbid drawing attention, instinct should mean danger. Instead, something deeper begins to pull them together: recognition. As patrols grow more dangerous and cost of leadership becomes painfully real, Mac and Melvin find themselves facing more than insurgents and hidden bombs. The bond forming between them threatens to break the rules meant to keep their kind hidden. And once instinct chooses a mate, walking away no longer becomes possible. So, please go buy this book. Or I will cry again. But it'll be angry tears, and you don't want to see those. Those aren't kind. Listen, if I'm crying because I'm angry, then I'm not hitting people.
That is true.
Could be drugs, could be hitting people. I don't do either. I just cry and live in a fictional world. And the last book that I will say is I squealed beyond squealed when I got approved for this one.
I already know what it is.
Comes out in a month, May 12th. And that is Dungeon Crawler Carl, Book 8. I will give you the actual title in just a second, Bianca.
I'm just putting Book 8.
Okay. For those of you at home that want the full title, it is The Parade of Horribles.
How do you spell his last name?
Dinniman. It's Dinniman.
Okay.
Yeah.
I almost bought book 1 yesterday, but I don't want to commit to like a 13-book series without getting it from the library or something first.
I don't blame you, and a lot of libraries do have them active. I will say that.
I'm on the list with Libby.
Okay. If I remember, he has a set amount of books for this series, and it's going to be.
He just had one come out that's not part of the Dungeon Crawler Carl series.
He did. It's called Operation Bounce House. It is a standalone. And there is an Easter egg for Operation Bounce House in Dungeon Crawler Carl, but they are not related. Yeah, that's not a spoiler. But the Carl series is planned to span 10 books. As of April of this year, 7 are published with the 8th on the way, obviously. He is expected to conclude the 9th book, which may be split into 2 parts. There's discussion about that because you've seen them as they progress. They get a little chunkier.
Yeah.
A little chunkier. But he has said that and indicated multiple times that he has planned to conclude this story around the 10th book.
Didn't he recently announce that the next book will be split into 2 parts?
Well, I don't know if he announced I don't know if he said for sure, but it is expected to kind of be split into 2 parts. Yeah.
Okay.
The 9th book, not the 8th book, the 9th book.
Okay.
Split into 2 parts. There's been a lot of talk about that. It was something he said. He was any idea, but like that could be like it. I don't know if it's been fully fleshed out between him and the his publishing house, if it's actually going to be. And I would assume if they're continuing to get it thicker and thicker, the publishing house, especially with the like the following he now has, they might be like, oh heck yeah, we gonna split it. We gonna part 1, part 2.
Well, that and like so Victoria Aveyard has had to split her book because the first draft was almost 1,000 pages.
Yeah.
And she went to her publisher and editor and was like, I can't cut anything out. I'm sorry. I can't. That's all essential to the story. Yeah. And they were like, well, no one is going to buy a almost 1,000-page novel like this. One, the cost of it.
Right.
People don't want to spend $75, $80 on a book just because of the materials. Ink is expensive if y'all don't know.
It is.
So they made the decision to split her new book that comes out later this year into 2 parts because of cost reasons.
So there's the like plan around it currently, which this is a lot of like, yes, he has said this. So like, it's not taking it from like thin air, but while his goal was always 10 books, but I guess in the process of writing, there is a plan that it's going to be a single narrative. Cause usually you finish a book and you go into the next, right? But it would be a single narrative released as 2 separate consecutive volumes. So there's even potential that they would release them maybe like Sarah J. Maas is doing, which hers are 2 separate books totally. But I'm wondering if that's what they're kind of talking about doing is maybe, because there are other people that have started doing that, splitting into 2 books. And I wonder if they're kind of, they said this, it's the sheer volume of the content, as you were saying with her, printing costs for massive books. They were explaining in an interview that I was watching that when you take a book from this many pages to this many pages, suddenly, if you separate it into 2 books, I didn't understand this. Maybe you know what I'm talking about. I don't know. But they were saying separating it into 2 books versus printing this massive, massive volume actually is cheaper to print 2 different books than this massive, massive volume. And they cited things that do make sense, like making sure the binding, like you're having to make sure more pages are gathered in there. It's secure, things of that nature. And over so many pages, well, we've seen it. Giant books tear up easier. They do. They really do. But of course, he is going to conclude it because there are without spoiling anything, because I know there's a lot of people that haven't started these books yet and plan to, like yourself, but like there are 18 floors to this dungeon. That's always been that, and that's not a spoiler. It's talked about from the get-go. Like, this is how it goes. This is how many floors. This is what's happening. And he plans to cover all of the floors, heavily detailed. You know, he does not want to leave anything out. And I appreciate that, because there's a lot of us that got real vested real quick. I'm kind of glad that I found this before, like, the crazy, like, I didn't find them, like, before. I feel like you found them, like, just as it was starting. I found them because, like, two people on Book Talk that I follow over there had said something about them, and I was like,
I had started hearing things, and then you were like, I am now obsessed with this.
Yeah, I read, like, book 1, book 2, like, boom, 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 and I knew, like, okay, you got to stop. You're going to, like, not a burnout, but you're going to get, like, I know me. I was like, okay. But yeah, I was like, it was kind of starting to be like rumblings of things. Like, it was starting for people to, like, they weren't in the crazy print new covers that you see everywhere. They were still like the weird cuckoo covers that I love, by the way.
I like the new covers.
I like both, but like when you've read the book, the old ones, silly ones make like a whole lot of sense. Like, and it's, I don't know, there's like some nostalgia to that. Even though they're not that old, but it's like, that's what he intended. Kind of thing. The new ones are really cool though. And I think they're done really, really well. But yes, I got approved to get an early copy of book 8. And it is a chunker.
I felt the rumblings when it happened.
I legitimately yeeted my phone and was like, because like I got like an email notification and they're like, hey, you get this book. Download it here. And I was like, are you kidding? Not to mention, one of the most recent Dungeon Crawler Carl TikToks that I have posted has now surpassed 100,000 views.
Woo!
I know. I was like, what? Which more people are just watching content and not actually following people. They're like watching, liking, commenting. They're not actually following that person. Just only give a few. If you could actually like follow me as well, that'd be great. I'm not asking for a whole lot here. But I have just a little bit left to go. But I can already tell you it's going to be a 5. Unless Matt does something in just this last little chunk of this book that just like makes me so thoroughly angry, it's another 5, which not all of them have been. So just throwing that out there. Not all of them have been 5s. 1 was a 5. 3, I don't know. I'll have to go back and look. 1 and 3 have been my favorites so far. 1 and 3. And then I can't remember 5. 5 is, they're all needed. They're all great, but there are things that happen in a couple of those that really just, you're going to be surprised if you haven't read this series, just how much emotional depth it actually has. A lot of dark humor, a lot, and some really gross things happen, but it's okay. There's a lot of action, satire, definitely there for sure. Mature themes, graphic violence. I did not think I would love this as much as I do. I made it my life now.
It is your entire personality.
This happens sometimes. This is what it's like to be a female with ADHD. Occasionally, you make things your entire personality.
Well, if you do want to see some of the content that Miranda has made, head over to the TikTok, Bells with Books Podcast. Yes. You can also find us on Instagram, Bells with Books Podcast there as well. You can follow me personally on Instagram and TikTok at Style and Freak. Type in Mom's a Nerd anywhere and Miranda will pop right up.
I do.
And we are also, I think we are up to date on our YouTube as well. Mm-hmm. So if you want to start consuming us via YouTube, Bells with Books Podcast is available there as well.
I know I've said it the last 2 times, but Spotify is coming. It's a lot of work because I'm having to, I have to basically reconvert. I have to do a lot of change. I basically have to go back from episode 1 and like cut and change some things to make it work.
Yeah.
So it's process. And I don't get paid to do this unless you got this.
This is a hobby, y'all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
patience.
I'm working on it. But yeah, we will be there. I will get the Spotify playlist going because, like I said, it'll start with 2 songs. And then maybe, you know what? Maybe to go with it, you and I can each pick out one, like that's a Bianca song or that's a Miranda song, and we'll do those 2, and then we'll do the ones for the book, the 2 for the book that we just named. That's gonna be hard for you, but you got to pick out one song that is a Bianca song. One.
For what? What are we encompassing?
For just to kick off our playlist on the Spotify for our songs. You got to pick one. Yeah. I already know what I'm picking.
I don't like this game.
I know you don't, because guys, this is the girl that anytime I ask her, so what's your, I have to continuously, as one of her best friends, ask her, like, so what is your current favorite song right now?
Because it changes.
It does. But I have
Because if you ask me right now, I'm going to say Click Clack Symphony by Ray. I have done that.
No, think about it. Like,
listened to that song at least 1,000 times this past week. I'm not exaggerating.
So let me clarify it this way. Think about all the songs that you've always listened to and all your favorites, and pick one that you think, if somebody said, what's Bianca's favorite? Like, what is Bianca's thing? Yes, I'm doing this. What is Bianca? Like, in a song, what is Bianca? Pick that song.
Okay, I'll have to text you.
Okay, because I already know mine.
Okay. Congratulations. I don't.
But anyway, so I will get that up. We will be on Spotify shortly. You can find us everywhere, all the places, all the things. Support the YouTube, just basically anywhere, everywhere. Bianca, she does do a good job on Instagram. She does not church herself up, but I'm going to hype her up. So go check out.
I try.
You do a good job. You do a very good job. So we appreciate you joining us for our interpretation of what superheroes are, can be, and should be. And come back next month in May when we're going to ask the question, is 2026 the new 2016? But until then, keep reading.